Science may be able to help us find happiness during this difficult time. Professor Laurie Santos created the most popular class at Yale University. It is called Psychology and the Good Life. In her podcast, The Happiness Lab, she offers solutions for keeping our spirits up during the pandemic. She joins us now from New Haven, Connecticut, from her home there. Good to see you again, Professor Laurie Santos. Listen, you know what I think? I think a lot of people are feeling anxious. We're really glad to see you. A lot of people are feeling anxious, they're feeling stressed, and they're looking for help. Laurie, help. And if the new applications at that Headspace meditation app are any indication, a lot of people are trying meditation for the first time. We all know, of course, that works. When you do it correctly, it actually works. So other than meditation, talk about the importance of that. What other tools do you have in your toolkit to help us out during this time?
Yeah, well, I think meditation is a really fantastic tool. I mean, the research really suggests that it can allow you to stop ruminating because you're doing such a great job of focusing on, say, your breath or a mantra. But part of why meditation is so helpful is it really allows you to take some deep breaths over time. And the way that works is it allows us to kind of curb our sympathetic nervous system. That's the fight or flight response we're all going through right now. It allows us to kick in the parasympathetic response, which gets us back to rest and digest, which is what all of us need right now.
I still got to figure out, though, how to quiet your mind, because you start meditation, then it goes off in 50 million directions because you're thinking about other things. What else do you have in your toolbox? What does the science say about other things?
Well, the biggest thing that the science says is that we need to make time for social connection. You know, social distancing can be a time where we feel a little bit more lonely, but it doesn't have to be. With technologies just like the one we're using right now, we can reach out across time zones, across neighborhoods to talk to the folks we really care about. And we need to do that in a really informal way, not just the kind of official sort of work type chats that we do online, but all the kind of informal things. You know, do yoga with a neighbor next door online. You know, try to have a dinner across different time zones with friends. I've been doing that with friends in Seattle, and it's been fantastic.
Laurie, it's Anthony. I wanted to ask, a former student of yours created a website called Invisible Hands, which is helping deliver groceries to the elderly. How does doing something like that, helping other people, help your own state of mind?
Yeah, well, this is a kind of a misnomer in the current culture. We think what we need to do right now is to double down on self-care or treat yourself. But actually, the research suggests that focusing on other people can improve our well-being too. And that winds up being a win-win. You know, if you take time to call an elderly neighbor or donate that money you're saving on your daily latte to a good cause right now, you're not just helping those other good causes and helping people who are vulnerable. You're also helping yourself. You're getting a little boost of well-being yourself through that act of doing something really nice for others. So it's a huge win-win.
Hey, Laurie, one of the things I like to annoy my children with is the adage that you can't always change the world, but we can always try to change our perspective or our relationship to the facts on the ground. And you spoke to a philosopher who provided similar advice about how a shift in perspective can really alter our attitudes. Can you talk us through that relationship between perspective and how we feel about the facts as they are?
Yeah, I think, you know, one of the striking things about this crisis is there's a lot we can't control. You know, we can't stop the virus, we can't control how long we're going to be, you know, trapped in our houses, but there's one thing we can control, which is our mindset. You know, we can control whether we're going to panic in the context of this crisis. We can control whether we see it as, say, a challenge to be fought and won rather than some sort of crisis. And in talking with philosophers like Bill Irvine, the idea is that you can use those different mindsets to feel better. You know, if you walk into the next week thinking, you know, this is a challenge and my family and I are going to kill it, you know, we have our game faces on, we are ready for this, you'll be incredibly more resilient than you would be if you were kind of woe is me and facing this as a crisis. So just a subtle shift in your mindset can be incredibly important for how you feel, but also how you get through this crisis in terms of your decision making.
Let's talk about relationships, Laurie, because now that we are forced to be together 24/7, for a lot of couples, that's either really good or really bad. What does the science say about stress in relationships and how to navigate that?
Well, I think the science says that this is a real thing, just validating that this is incredibly hard to be running a daycare and a babysitting service and your job with your partner, while stuck in a house. Sometimes during crises, relationships get worse. We see things like divorce rates going up during Hurricane Sandy, but we also see marriage rates going up and birth rates going up, which means people are, doing the things they need to do to make babies. And so what that science tells us is there are good and bad things we can be doing in relationships. And one thing we can do is to try to double down on the positive things. All of us have something that's great about our relationship, whether we share humor together or work well with the kids together. This is the time to figure out what those things are and find ways in your current situation to double down on the positive stuff.
Yeah. All good advice, Laurie Santos. Sometimes it's good just to work in different rooms. If you can do that, that's what I'm doing here. It's how we're surviving. Season 2 of the Happiness Lab will be available April 27th on podcast platforms. Laurie, thanks again.